Welcome to the roller coaster ride of business with Hannah Edwards on Global Voice Radio. Hannah and her guests share the real deal, the ups and downs, the highs and lows of building a business. Here is your host, Hannah Edwards.
Hey guys, welcome to the roller coaster ride of business. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm your host, Hannah Edwards, and on this week's show, we are talking about imposter syndrome. So many people go through this, regardless as to whether they are business owners or not, and I myself experienced a case of imposter syndrome recently. I find that a lot of people don't actually talk about imposter syndrome. They don't go up to someone and go, hey, I feel like I'm being a fraud in my industry. So I want to start the conversation about it, and I decided I would start it on my show. So I wanted to find a fantastic definition of imposter syndrome. So I hit Google to research. Fabulous Google, where would we be without it? The best definition that I found is that imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. For me, it was feeling like I was playing at being a business owner. Remember when you were kids, I don't know how many guys did this, but like I know a lot of my female friends and I did. But when you were kids and you were playing dress up and you were playing house or school teacher, it's kind of like that for me. But instead of playing that, I was playing at being a business owner. In fact, imposter syndrome threw me off of my game completely, and I was only able to do the basics in my business, like the actual bare minimum that I needed to do, the work for my clients. And I think that was about it. I don't know if I did I don't really remember my couple of weeks of imposter syndrome. I literally did what I needed to do for my clients, and that was it. So now I want to reassure everyone that's listening that imposter syndrome is totally normal. In fact, according to the International Journal of Behavioral Science, 70% of people will suffer with it during their lifetime. And although there isn't an official diagnosis, it's recognized by psychologists and is often accompanied by anxiety and depression. So I decided I'd do something different for this show, and I found 3 other business owners and I asked them for a quote on what they believed imposter syndrome is. So Donnie, who appeared on my show a few weeks ago, said that everyone gets imposter syndrome. Usually it comes from inaction. So if you keep moving forward and creating, you'll find it's merely a thought. So I definitely agree with this because I took a few days out from my business. Everything was up to date and scheduled. So I decided I'll take some time out. Like I've done all my client work. I'm ahead with everything I need to be in my business. I'm going to take a day or 2 out. But then when I came back to do some more work for my clients and for my businesses, I found that imposter syndrome hit me, and it hit me hard. So Denise Thompson, who is the founder of Global Voice Radio, the amazing platform that you will find my show on, and who has been a regular feature on my show from the start. So quite obviously, guys, I couldn't miss her out when finding a quote for what people think about imposter syndrome. She said, "You are not an imposter. You are you, and no one else is or can be. You are the best you today and can be a better you tomorrow, a better you than anyone else could be. Be you and live your best life now." So I love this quote from Denise. In fact, it made me think of Dr. Seuss and his quote of, "Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you." Love it. And it's true. There isn't anyone else who is you or anyone else that can be you. So why are we feeling like imposters? Like even twins, they're still individual, whether they look alike or not. There might be some mirror images, obviously their looks if they're identical, but they might have some actions and parts about themselves that are similar, but they're still individuals, they're still separate people. So even they can't be imposters unless they're obviously playing the twin prank. So the third person I spoke to was Sarah Ankney, who is an empowerment coach, and she's also another regular feature on the show. And she said that you are only being an imposter if you're not being yourself. So this quote is great alongside the quote from Denise. Both women are trying to tell you that there is only one you. Again, so how can you be an imposter? So there you have it, 3 quotes from 3 very different business owners on imposter syndrome. But it isn't just us regular business people who find that they're suffering from imposter syndrome. People at the top, people that we read about all the time, those that have written their books, made their millions, done TED Talks, TV shows, radio shows, the works, they all suffer with it too. In an interview with the New York Times, Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks, said very few people, whether you've been in that job before or not, get into the seat and believe today that they are now qualified to be the CEO. They're not going to tell you that, but it's true. And for me, that just makes me think that if I went to run a big, massive business and I sat in that CEO chair, no way would I tell someone, oh yeah, I'm going to do great at this job. Because there's new things to learn every day. No one is ever fully 100% qualified, in my opinion, because there are always so many things to learn from. So once we have worked out that we are suffering from imposter syndrome, now we all know what it is and that it's okay to suffer from it. What do we do to get over it? So there are 3 steps to stop feeling as though you're a fraud in your industry. In fact, that's a lie. There are so many steps. When you hit Google and you search for ways to get over imposter syndrome, it's like, bam, one force load of information straight at your fingertips. But there's so much contradicting information. One person saying, yeah, do this to get over it. And one person saying, oh no, do this to get over it. So I just decided to find 3 steps that fit well together, that flow 1, 2, 3, as opposed to 1 being one thing, 2 being something completely opposite, and 3 being something again completely different. So the first step is to take time out to work out what your strengths are. Brainstorm and discover them. But while you're doing that, make sure you're listing your weaknesses as well. I know it sounds really weird when I say that, because when you're feeling like an imposter, why do you want to find out what your weaknesses are? So you can get a confidence boost when you look at a piece of paper that lists your strengths. And when I'm saying list your strengths, I'm saying be really detailed. Don't just say, I'm good at time management. Say, I'm good at time management and this is how I do it. So you've got your process there to see, wow, I really am good at time management because I follow this process and it works for me. But you need to list your weaknesses, because how are you going to work on them and turn them into strengths if you don't have them listed down in front of you, if you don't know what they are? So once you've worked on your lists, make a plan. How are you going to turn those weaknesses into strengths? You're already, by doing that, starting to overcome feeling like an imposter, because you're doing something for you. They're your strengths, they're your weaknesses, they're your things to work on. So the second thing is to get rid of the should in your statements. On your list of weaknesses, you'll probably have things like, I should know this, or I should be like that. I should copy that person. I should act the same way as that person. I should know this topic off by heart. Why should we know all of this stuff? Why do you feel like you are feeling that way? Why do you think you should know something? Why do you think you should be a certain way? You're comparing yourself to someone else, but you don't necessarily know that they're actually living the life that you're seeing. Social media is fantastic for business, but there's also a massive downside in the fact that we give out the impression that we have the perfect life. I mean, there's Instagram accounts that are dedicated to just showing like pictures that make someone jealous because, wow, she's got that bag, he's got them trainers, they're off on that holiday. But we don't know what's going on behind those pictures. It's a great snapshot moment, but no one knows the truth behind those pictures. And an example of like faking it till you make it on social media is the video that's going around at the moment of people who have all this makeup on and they look really glamorous, and then they're taking it off and their faces change completely because they've completely changed how they look with makeup. And they are completely faking it for social media. How is that okay when you're suffering imposter syndrome to go and look at stuff like that? It's just going to make you feel even worse about yourself. And this is what I found when I was suffering with my case of it. I was watching videos like that, and I was reading an article about a 26-year-old who, by the time she was 23, had already made some fantastic moves in business. She had her company, she was bringing in loads of money and was then able to employ a massive team of people. And she was 23 at the time that she was doing all of this. There's the girl in America who, in her teen years, was making so much money from her babysitting job that she ended up turning it into an employment thing where she employed people to babysit. And she's making a heck of a lot of money, and she's like several years younger than me. So I then started comparing myself to them. They're younger than me. They've managed to do all of this stuff. Why am I not doing this? But then I ended up realizing that for me, that was a mistake. Comparing myself to them was a mistake. And that leads on to my next point of you need to change your views on mistakes. If you suffer from imposter syndrome, it's highly likely that you fear mistakes before they happen, when they happen, and after they happen. You need to change your view on them and understand that mistakes will always happen to you and to everybody else, and they're part of the learning curve in whatever you are doing. So my mistake wasn't taking time out when I'd got all of my business, like I'd got ahead of it. I'd scheduled weeks in advance. I had literally done everything I needed to do. My mistake wasn't the fact that I took a couple of days out. It was the fact that I took time out, and when I came back from the business, I didn't change my views. As soon as that imposter syndrome hit, I didn't start working on how to get rid of it. I just let it completely take over. And that was a learning curve for me. So I know next time when I'm feeling like I'm starting to feel like an imposter, when those trigger points start happening, when I see a video on Facebook or pictures on Instagram of these perfect lifestyles, I know I need to not let them get to me. So for me, imposter syndrome, like I said, it felt like I was playing dress up as a business owner. Like I was literally the kid in the room full of adults, and no one would want to talk to me or anything like that. And I, like I said, I let it really get to me. So I still did what I needed to do for my business, but I wasn't getting myself out there and promoting myself. I wasn't searching for new clients for my virtual assistant business. I wasn't getting new guests for my show or finding topics to talk about, and I wasn't actively searching for new features for my magazine. So when I then decided, okay, I'm going to schedule my businesses, because like I said, I did the bare minimum. So I literally scheduled for my clients and did the stuff that popped into my inbox for them. But then the rest of the time, instead of forcing myself to work on my businesses, I took time out and concentrated on hobbies that I love to do, because I clearly needed to recharge. So I read, but that still links with business, because I read business books. I crocheted, and I just watched absolute junk on TV. So when I say I took some time, I mean it took like a week or so for me to feel normal again. But now I'm back, I'm feeling better than ever, and I'm ready to blast my businesses. I'm working with some fabulous clients for my virtual assistant business. I'm recording some great topics for my show, and I'm finding some amazing features for my magazines. I'm really excited to share some more stuff with you that I can't say right now, but some more stuff that will be amazing as a business owner, and that I'm really excited to share with you. So you guys need to remember, it really is a case of recharging your batteries, reframing how you think about yourself in whatever you are doing. And once you give yourself a positive mindset, there really is nothing you cannot do. So if you want to find more about the people, some more information about the people that I mentioned in today's show, head over to their Facebook pages. You can find Donnie on Facebook at Donnie Success Champions. It'll bring up his group and his page. You can find Denise on the Global Voice Radio page. And you can also find Denise on the Global Voice magazine page, because she's just launched a magazine that I am really excited to read. So go and find the page for that, check it out, take a little read of the magazine and let Denise know what you're thinking. You can also find Sarah at Sarah Ankney Empowerment. Guys, you can also find me on Facebook. I'm at Empowered VA or Empowered Magazine, or you can email me at empoweredvauk@gmail.com. I would really love to hear your stories of any cases of imposter syndrome you've had, how you overcame it, or any advice that you have for other people. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and I will be back next week.
Thank you for listening. Join Hannah Edwards and the roller coaster ride of business every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Global Voice Radio, where your voice is heard.